Hi, I'm Erin Beckwell. I am the BSW Field Education Coordinator with the Faculty of Social Work. So I've been asked to share a little bit about how the practicum or field education component of the undergrad or BSW Bachelor of Social Work program works, and a little bit about how that might shape future career options, as well as your experience in education. So in social work, field education or practicum is often described as our signature pedagogy. It's a part of our accreditation standards. And so all students who get a social work degree at the undergraduate level in Canada from an accredited program will complete 700 hours of field education. So in our program at the University of Regina, placements range in length from 15 weeks to 32 weeks, depending on the options students choose. So in our undergrad program, there are currently 2 practicum placements. And so most students do those in their sort of final year of the social work program. So they take, your general university studies, then they take their social work courses or a large portion of them, and then in their final year, go into practicum once they've had some of that prep. And so with practicum, Practicum 1, which of course comes first, it typically is done over 15 weeks in an agency. So that's usually from, the first week of the term till the end of classes, about there. And so those placements are usually 15 to 16 hours a week in an agency. Lots of students do those as 2 days a week, 2 full days, but there's lots of flexibility there. Our Practicum 2 placements, those tend to be done full-time for most students, which looks like about 30 to 32 hours a week for 16 weeks. So the total for the full-time placement is 470 hours. And most students leave that big one till the end. We also have an option for a part-time Practicum 2 placement, which is done over 32 weeks instead of 16, and so is 15 to 16 hours a week. Most students, again, are doing that in 2 full-day blocks, but there is flexibility to get those hours done in whatever ways work for students, but also the agencies they're placed in. So when it comes to where practicum happens, there's so many options. That's one of the best things about social work, is that social work can take you into all sorts of different sectors, different practice settings, and working with different populations. And even within those, a lot of variation around the type of work and the level of work you might be doing. So some students would end up working with individuals in settings like counseling. Some may end up working in child and family services. So in a government ministry, working with families with children involved in child welfare. Some social work students end up placed in correctional settings, schools, hospitals, community-based organizations, grassroots movements, research, policy, all sorts of things. And so our placements reflect the diversity of our profession. We do have a very involved placement process where students are able to identify some areas of interest, and we do our best to accommodate those. So examples of other agencies where we've placed students, we've had students, especially during the pandemic, do some really interesting stuff. Placements with agencies in other parts of the country and sometimes in other countries that they can do from Saskatchewan. But we've also really been able to get students involved in some unique community initiatives where having student capacity in a practicum, of course with supervision, has allowed some new innovative grassroots movements to get some work done that otherwise they might not be able to. We also frequently place students in health authorities, ministries with government. Those placements are very, very popular. And of course, those are settings where lots of social workers who graduate with a BSW end up working. So one of the things that, of course, a lot of students want to know about when it comes to practicum is this basically a long job interview, or is this like a work co-op? Practicum is different than co-op work terms or other types of sort of service learning or experiential learning. And in practicum, we are really focused on integrating theory and practice. And that certainly should set students up for a really good experience when it comes to apply for jobs. And so going from practicum out into the workplace, for some students looks like staying in the agency where they're placed and being hired on there. That does happen. But we do our very, very best to make sure students have diverse experience, to prepare them to do generalist social work, so not specializing in a particular area, so you have as much versatility as possible when it comes to employment. And of course, those practicum placements also are a real complement to the more sort of classroom-based learning that happens throughout our program, and gives students opportunities to integrate that learning and knowledge, and then, you know, ask questions about it in the classroom, and so on and so forth. So I hope you've appreciated this little blurb about practicum in the BSW program, and look forward to seeing some of you come through our program down the road. Take care.